economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, government, or national security. Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon Howse.
And welcome to the broadcast. On this Monday night, May 18th, 2026, we're going to have on with us Nic Hulscher, the epidemiologist, because there's talk, as you heard in my worldview report tonight, there's talk of the FBI investigating somebody at the National Institutes of Health after he returned from the DRC, that's the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with pathogen samples in his luggage. I guess Children's Health Defense Fund, which HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. founded, reported this. Now, what is interesting, or what is very disturbing as I go to the article, is here's the headline: Virologist linked to Fauci under FBI investigation for smuggling dangerous pathogens into the U.S., May 6, 2026. Now, you guys are hearing that the WHO has declared an emergency, an international emergency, I think, related to Ebola in the Congo, and I think part of Uganda. And they wrote that earlier this year, Vincent Munster, an NIH virologist, traveled to the Dominican Republic of Congo with NIH scientists. When they returned to the U.S., they were stopped for an airport security check, which revealed pathogen samples collected from patients. Disinformation Chronicle reported that the samples included monkeypox virus. All right, I don't know where this is all going, but apparently the American people are not going to be scared by the hantavirus. Now, you guys know that I have said for some time, not that it takes a rocket scientist to say what I've said, that I'm going to repeat, but I said that if you want to scare the American people, the next go round is going to have to be very visual, like a horror show. I'm talking about bleeding from the eyes, like the one of the viruses where you bleed from the eyes. That's the kind of thing that I think would catch the attention of a lot of people, including myself. So again, when you see this kind of stuff going on, you have to ask yourself, what is this all about? Well, we're going to be joined by none other than Nic Hulscher, who we asked him to look into this. We have some more robot videos tonight. If you are in a service-oriented business like you lay tile, okay, I thought maybe that would be something you could do longer, and robots wouldn't maybe take over that. Apparently I was wrong. I'll show you a video. Little shocking, to be honest with you. I'll show it to you. Let's see, what else do we got? We're going to talk to David Pyne. We're going to talk to David Pyne about some attacks that Russia and Ukraine are trading back and forth with each other. What does he think about the recent trip by President Trump to China? What is going on? And what's with the statements we highlighted Friday night? President Trump saying, we could use 500,000 Chi-Com students coming in here. That's fine. And then buying up property. We're going to deal with all that tonight with David Pyne and more. And then President Trump, as you guys know, has as you probably know, has put a halt on striking Iran for right now. The question is, do we have enough munitions to keep doing this? Where are we at when it comes to our missile inventory? So Nic Hulscher, David Pyne, and Michael Weiner is going to come on to talk about my article from the other night, which I asked him to read. I asked him to read my article, The Great Retirement Heist. Do Americans really own their investments? And to do a little more research into why so many baby boomers may very well lose what many of them have worked their whole life for and leave very little, if anything, to their children and grandchildren, which a lot of them, I think, want to do. Let's talk about that and a lot more. I got some video clips. We love to play the old robot videos to see how they're progressing and taking over. But before we do, my friends, I spent a lot of the weekend, of course, preparing for last night's Bible study church service, Daniel chapter 5. But I also spent quite a bit of time continuing to read on the commentary of Revelation. I've got, how much do I have left here? I'm on page 213 of 319. Page 213 of 319. So I got about a little more than 100 pages left in volume 3. Volume 1 and 2 have already made it to my editor, Jill, and I'm marking things up and adding things because I'm going to make this the best commentary for lay people on the book of Revelation that I can possibly make it. And folks, I was reading it this weekend, and I said to my wife, sitting out in the yard, I was reading this, trying to get some sunshine, working on my tan. And while I was out there, I am getting tan. You know, look at that compared to my piece of paper. And I'm under white lights, by the way, it washes me out. But I am getting tan. It all, you know, I got a tan going now, boys. I'm trying not to be so old and white and pasty. While I was sitting in the lawn chair in the sun reading this, I said to my wife, this is really entertaining because I delivered it in layman terms for lay people, but I also want the commentary to be a commentary for lay people. And look, it's 1,700 pages. I'm being reminded of what I studied. There's no way you could memorize all that. And I'm going, wow, that's interesting. I forgot I made that point. Oh, that's interesting. I need to bring that up again. That's connected to something going on right now. Fascinating. And it's for lay people. It keeps your attention. And I'm very excited about it. So I've got more to read. I asked her to update chapter 11. I asked her to update some things on 18. I asked her to update some things on chapter 41. So all I do is read and study, and I don't mind it. I love it. So anyway, worldviewstore.com. Now, we also have some big news tonight before we go to those robot videos. I have tons and tons of these. These are little beta SP. This is a beta SP. What year is this? Reagan spoke for me, Michael Reagan. What was that? What year did he speak, Logan? I'm guessing 2008. Somewhere there. Somewhere around there. I don't know. We can look. 7, 8. Anyway, this is a beta SP. But then we went, of course, to these little SD cards, and now we just go right onto hard drives. But anyway, this is an old beta SP. Some of you in the business know what I'm talking about in the filming world. But anyway, this is old technology. But I have a ton of these, and I have some that are way bigger than this. Way bigger than this. I mean, like literally that wide, that long, huge. Okay, way bigger than a VHS, like 3-4 times bigger than a VHS. And so we had to go out, we had to buy an old piece of equipment that no one buys these anymore unless you buy an old one that someone had and maintained it so that we can read these things. Because these are our masters and they're the highest of quality you're going to get. And some of the stuff we've done online, we had to compress it down. So because when we were putting some of this online, because remember I started Worldview Tube as a division of our ministry in 2006. And good old half the country was on dial-up still in 2006. And as we went on, 7, 8, 9, 10, we still had to compress the files so that people could actually watch them without getting that spinning wheel, right? So the quality was compressed. So I wanted to get back the original quality and make it as high-end as possible now that everybody is on high-speed cable and fiber. So we're updating all that stuff into the vault. You see how much we care? We want you watching the best, cleanest stuff we've got. And we want this archived at the highest level possible. So, you know, long after I'm gone, it's still there in high quality. So anywho, we ordered up one of these machines from the early 2000s. And so we can read beta SPs. We have another one coming that reads one of the bigger tapes that's coming from Hungary. That should be here this week, right, Logan? Tomorrow. And it's coming from Hungary. So anyway, I said to Logan, because I came across a few of these. How many of these do you think I got, Logan? At least 100, not to mention the other formats. I came across some of them in that handwriting of my friend who's now passed away, Steve. And it said Dino, and some said Brannon. And I said, Logan, I think this is video of Dino Kartsanakis and I, because Dino came to our Ozarks conference 2 years in a row, and I sang, he played music, piano, obviously. And I think there's some on there. Well, today he pulled some of this up for me in the control room. And if you had put me under oath and said, Brandon, have you ever sung the Lord's Prayer while Dino Kartsanakis played the piano? I would say, no, but I sure wish I had that opportunity. I don't think I ever did that. I know we did Down from His Glory. That great big song, Down From His Glory, I did that with him a few times, including on his TV show out of Nashville. But no, I don't think I ever did the Lord's Prayer while he played live. Well, wouldn't you know it? I did. That's crazy. I said, Logan, we have done so much. I've done so much over 36 years. The Lord has allowed me to do and blessed me to be able to do and have so many wonderful experiences that if it wasn't for the fact we recorded a lot of them, I would have completely forgot. I had no idea I had actually sung the Lord's Prayer while Dino Kartsanakis played the piano live. That's why we're going back through these things and grabbing up what we can, because there's a lot of other stuff on there, because we just pulled off mainly the speakers and put that out there. And we left the music stuff behind. I'm like, go back and let's grab all this music. People will really love it and appreciate it. Now, we have multiple camera shots, but I want to show you just one clip real quick of the Lord's Prayer. This is one camera shot. When we get done post-editing it, it'll be multiple camera shots. But I just wanted to show you this because this has never aired. We've never aired this before, okay? I didn't even know we had it to air. But we did go and we had to start digging through more boxes to find the other camera shots, because every one of these is a camera. So camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, our swinging boom camera going over the auditorium. So Logan will edit them all together now. But I want to go ahead and just show you one camera shot that moves around. In the post-edit, it won't, because he'll be going to other camera shots to cover the guys moving the camera. But I do want to show you this, because I think it's fascinating. Because my buddy Dino, I just called him up to message for him. Dino's in his 80s now. And Dino's still doing ministry and doing a daily devotional and playing the piano on YouTube, and gets a lot of views. And people love that still, right? And so I just left a message to encourage Dino today. But anyway, watch this. We just found this today, this morning. Watch this. There you go. And I had no idea we had that on tape. No idea. I had to keep leaning in to hear that monitor because I'm trying to keep up with him and that track. And that was the first time we'd ever done that. I mean, it's like, we're doing this. Let's try it. What could go wrong? I mean, there's only like 1,800 people in the room. But that's why I was like, give me more monitor, and kind of leaning down to that monitor, trying to hear that track to keep up with where he was at. But boy, howdy, we had a lot of fun. And I was also turned toward him. If people are wondering why you turned toward Dino, I was watching him for cues because he was cueing me along the way. That's his track. He arranged that. He knows that track. I just learned it. So I'm really concentrating and watching his cues for where I'm to come in. And man alive, that was a lot of fun. Now, we did another one. We've done this one. He and I did this one 2 or 3 times. We just found this one as well today. You want to play a little bit of this one, Logan? We're going to edit this one together with multiple camera shots as well and let you guys put this one online when we do. You can watch this. All right, there you go. Boy, we had a blast, didn't we? And you know what's so fascinating is I grew up listening to cassette tapes of Dino Katsanakis. Didn't know the gentleman, but grew up listening to cassette tapes. Literally wore out one of his cassette tapes, listening to it so much. Little did I know years later when I became an adult that I would have the chance to meet him, know him, and become friends with him, and then minister with him, and then have him on our platform at the Worldview Weekends, and then to be on his program out of Nashville as well, doing that same song. It's amazing the people that I grew up listening to, whether it's Dino or other people, some Bible teachers, and that years later I got to minister with them. Absolutely amazing. You know, that goes back to what I was talking about tonight on the Worldview Report, my commentary. What is success in the eyes of the world, and what is success when it comes to what we as Christians consider success or the abundant life? And the Bible says, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly, spiritually, of course. And, you know, there's many things we do as believers that the world doesn't find interesting. They don't find of any value. They could care less. But I'll tell you what, folks, when I look back over my life, I realize that serving the Lord has absolutely been abundant. And the Lord has been so good and gracious to give me opportunities that I look back on. And thankfully, with things like the technology and us finding some of these tapes, I'm able to go back and find out about things I forgot we had done and share them with you and share them with my family, and particularly my grandkids. My granddaughter loves music. She's always singing. She loves music. And I told Logan and I told my daughter, I want this edited together, if nothing else, for her, because she loves music. And I think she'll appreciate that her grandpa did this at one time. So it's great to have this for your kids and for your grandkids. Logan doesn't even remember that. He was so little. You don't remember any of that, do you, Logan? No, he was too little. So it's good to have that. But back to the point I'm trying to make. We as Christians get to have so many opportunities to do so many things and minister with people and meet people and share the gospel with people and teach the Bible. And we go back and we realize over our life the things we've done. And can you join me tonight in saying that indeed we as believers, Christ, when he said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundant. Have you lived the abundant Christian life? Do you look back over your life and you think about how blessed you are to have done the things you've done? Meet the people you've met, minister with or to, or be ministered by to you to have received on the receiving end of ministry from certain people. I mean, you just think back. It's absolutely overwhelming. And yet the world would not value these things. The world would not see these things. But we do. The difference between the way a believer calculates the abundant life or success versus the world. I go back to that verse. I think it's from 1 Timothy. I cited tonight. I've come that you might have life. Or excuse me, no. Godliness plus contentment equals great gain. Godliness plus contentment equals great gain. Fascinating. All right, we'll look forward to getting those posts edited and see what else we can find along the way and share with you as well. Okay, let's go before we go to our first guest. Let's go to some videos here. Some videos, robots. We like to show you some of the robot videos. I'm not going to play any of the audio because there's probably copyright on some of that. But I'm going to show you some video here, Logie, on. I guess they now have gotten robots. I don't know where this is. I think Japan. I'll let you know. Maybe China. I'll check. But they've gotten the robots now to do the sewing. So more and more of these manual jobs are going bye-bye. Oh, yeah, including tiling floors. Just wait 1 minute and you'll see. But here we go. Look at that. Now they're sewing. Pushing that material through there and sewing. And these guys, basically, if they're charged up to a power center, can go 24/7. No carpal tunnel, no coffee breaks, no potty breaks, no sick days, no vacation days. Now they can sit there and sew 24/7. Pull that down there, Logion, and we'll go to the next one I've got, which, let's see, where is this? Where is this going down? This is going down in China. I figured it was going to be Japan or China. It's China. I should have known China, right? All right, here's another one. Here's another. Watch this, guys. Look at that. Grabbing the pieces of material. Yeah. That is crazy that it's able to do that kind of delicate work, right? All right, there you go. Now, for those of you out there that are providing a service like tiling a floor, you think, well, that's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before I have to worry about losing my job to a robot. But apparently not. Apparently not. There is a robotic tile layer now. And what he's putting down, let's go ahead and show the screen. What he's putting down is the, I guess, like the cement. So you see that line, maybe you can or can't see that line right there. That's the cement. All right. And then it puts down the tile. Watch this. Now this thing can run 24/7 too, as long as it's plugged into a source. Now someone's probably got to come along and fill it up with the grout that it's using, unless they get a robot to do it. And that's coming. Saw a robot packing up a robot the other day, didn't we, guys? Look, there's that piece of tile going in place. All right, so this is moving a lot faster than I thought. I really thought a lot of these service-oriented jobs would be protected a lot longer, but apparently not. All right, here's another deal real quick. This is MIT. Here we go. MIT just solved one of the hardest unsolved problems in robotics. For decades, the fundamental problem with soft robots and wearable exoskeletons has not been compute or AI. It's been, what's that word, Logan? Actuation? Yeah, actuation. The moment you try to give a soft robot meaningful strength, you run into the same wall every engineer has hit since the field began. Fluid-driven systems require external pumps, hydraulic reservoirs, and heavy infrastructure that makes the entire thing impractical to wear or embed into fabric. MIT's new electrofluoridic fiber muscles solve that problem by eliminating external infrastructure entirely. The key insight is electrohydromatic pumping using electric fields to generate pressure directly from electricity with no moving parts, no motors, no external fluid reservoir. The fibers are less than 2 millimeters thick, can be woven into fabric like ordinary textile, and operate in complete silence because nothing physically moves inside them. It's just ions propelling fluid through a closed circuit. The performance numbers published in Science Robotics are not conceptual. They are empirical results from actual hardware. Another configuration launched objects in under 100 milliseconds, which is faster than a human can flinch. This is nuts. You ready for this, Logan? Here they are. I would play the audio on this one probably. Or maybe I don't need it. I don't know. Let's see. I don't think there is any audio, but look at that. It's making that, and then it puts it into the textile. Isn't that something? This is MIT doing this. This is moving fast, folks. Absolutely incredible. Wow. All right. We're going to keep you posted on the robot stuff. We like playing the videos. But I'm kind of getting where I don't like playing the videos because I thought they were just kind of fun videos to play, showing you robots doing things. But now it's getting where these are going to really start taking people's jobs. Now, again, I'm pretty well big on the whole idea of the free market and that the free market system will work itself out, I like to think, and that people will find a way to make a living in this market by servicing the robots or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. I want to be positive. We do have some sad news tonight. Apparently, a couple teenagers have attacked an Islamic mosque in San Diego. Right, Logan? 1719. Can someone bring me this audio cord? Because this is a police chief, it looks like, who is going to give us an update. San Diego police officials reveals officers confirmed 2 shooters dead after the Islamic Center shooting. 3 deaths are confirmed. All the kids, thankfully, are safe. We're thankful for that. But this is not to be tolerated. Attacks on innocent people, regardless of whether we agree with their worldview, their ideology, their theology, their doctrine. Murder is murder, folks. And this is very, very unfortunate tonight. And Logan's going to make it so I can play the audio so we can hear what this police chief is saying. You ready? Here we go.
There is no further threat. Both suspects in this case are deceased. All of the kids are safe. Our hearts go out to the families that are in this moment being notified of what has happened to their loved ones. We have 3 confirmed adults that are deceased at the Islamic Center. There is no...
All right, now that 3 doesn't count the 2 shooters, I don't think, Logan. So that's just that they murdered 3 people, and then it sounds like they killed themselves, Logan. Teenagers. Well, we'll be finding out more about that. All right, one more little deal here I want to play for you, Logan. Oh, I do have the courses, right? We had robots fighting. Did I show the video yet of the robots fighting? I got to find that video real quick. We got robots fighting each other. If I can find it. I got to cue it up. Robots fighting. So this has gone to a whole new level. All right, here we go. Here it is. Found it. Now watch this, Logan. You ready? Here we go.
Let's go. Come on, Nick. Come on. Oh, shit.
Have you seen this, Logan? Look at this, guys.
Oh, Nick.
Whoa. Okay, get your back turned. There you go. Oh, he's punching at the air. Get out there, buddy boy. Uh-oh. Whoa. Now, is someone operating these things or what? Are they operating on their own? Do you think they are operating them? Are you on mic? Whoa!
Let's go.
Can they not get up on their own?
He's knocked out.
Yeah, knocked out cold. Something fell off. Do you think someone's operating those, Logan?
No. I think so.
What do you guys think?
No.
You think they're operating on their own?
I've seen those before. Yeah, they operate on their own.
And I saw Elon's whole unveiling of the whole city of robots, and those were all being operated, supposedly. So
which one do you think it is, Logan?
I feel like they're operated.
They're being operated?
Maybe they're not.
Well, look at this one. Supposedly, they're throwing flying kicks. Look at this one. Those aren't being operated, are they? What? Well, you guys, get on the mic. I can't hear what you're saying.
I don't think that USA one's operated. It's just
No, that's just doing a job. But the point is, China is making them where they can actually fight, and we're making them where they sort people's underwear they bought on Amazon.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, here's one. Look at this one, Logan. Warfare is going to be completely changed. Yeah, we're moving into weird times, aren't we? Wow. All right. Now, I want to go back to the robots that were fighting each other. Okay. Just remember, everybody, this is the robots that were fighting each other. Okay. This is 2026. How young people today, I guess, are going to be entertained by building robots and having them fight with each other.
Wasn't there a movie about that?
I don't know. Was there?
I'm almost positive there was.
Now, Logan, you want to know how we back in the 60s, in the early 70s, through the 70s, you know how we played when it came to fighting robots?
Yeah, Real Steel. It was in 2011.
You're not even listening to me, are you?
It's a movie. I know. I'm here to listen to you.
Look at this. This is the closest we got, guys.
Knocking it out in the middle of the ring.
Rock'em sock'em.
Hard right to the job.
That's it.
Blue Bomber's block is knocked off.
Yeah.
His block is knocked off.
Sure, but you can press it right back on again. It's just part of the action with the world's only boxing robots, the Rock'em Sock'em robots by
Yep.
Marks. Takes 2 managers to handle the fighters and lots of skill to win. With these control levers, you can keep your fighters in motion to duck punches. When you press this plunger, he throws a right uppercut. Press the other plunger and there's a left jab. Lots of exciting action and fun for everyone when the world's only boxing robots battle it out.
The Blue Bomber's looking for an opening. And there it is. That's the end of round 2.
Just push the flying head back and you're ready for round 3.
Yeah. The world's only boxing robots. Well, sorry, that was the 1970s, 60s. And then, of course, you did have it in the 70s as well. Here we go.
I can beat any kid on the block. Oh, yeah? Yeah.
They're slugging it out. A left to the jaw, and
Oh, my block is knocked off.
Yeah. Rock'em sock'em. How far we've come, Logan. I used to have a Rock'em sock'em. I bet you some in this audience had it. I wonder what a Rock'em sock'em would go for on eBay today, Logan. Logan's falling asleep. You're still with us?
Yeah.
I wonder what a Rock'em sock'em would cost on eBay.
Look.
Let's see. Do I have anything else before we move on? I don't know. This is one of the most entertaining talk programs you'll see in America,
Look,
I
here's that
think.
movie I'm talking about.
Huh?
That movie I was talking about
What about it?
them fighting robots. There
You did
go.
find it?
Look.
Oh, wow.
He
What year was
mimicked
that?
2011.
I've never heard of it. Isn't that something? All right. All right. What does a Rock'em Sock'em go for on eBay? Do we have Nick? All right. What's a Rock'em Sock'em go for?
I'm looking.
All right. Well, you look that up. I'll do a plug and we'll go right to Nick. Nick at night. All right, guys. Remember, we're brought to you by you. If you tune in late, you miss a lot. You do not want to tune in this program late.
$25.
$25? That seems awfully cheap for a Rock'em Sock'em. But maybe they're not the original.
There's a vintage 1966 for sale for $300.
That would seem more like it, the vintage. Yeah. Let's see, Logan, I do have a quick announcement to make. I can find where we are on that. worldviewtube.com/vault. worldviewtube.com/vault. Oh, yeah, thank you. All right, look at this, folks. If you go to worldviewtube.com/vault, hover your cursor over vault, and you can obviously vault search, and that right there lets you search a lot of our videos. And they're not even all up yet. It's still all being transcoded. That library is only things you can search are only going to grow. But look at this one here, courses. Are you ready? We're showing it to you for the first time. Under Worldview Tube, hovering your cursor over Worldview, over Vault, Worldview Tube, you're logged in, and you're a Vault member, look for courses, click it. Okay. What's going to pop up here? Oh, look at that. Revelation, the book of Revelation. It is now a lesson. How many lessons, guys? 53, I bet. That's what it's supposed to be. Look at that. 53 lessons. And how does it work, Logan? Tell us how it works, because you guys built it.
It's
I taught it,
basically
you
just
built
You can
it.
watch it like you were watching it before.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the hour. See if you click view there. And then you can read an overview. And then once you're done watching the hour and reading the overview, then it asks, I think it has 10 questions, multiple choice questions after each lesson.
Yeah.
and then you move on to the next one.
By the way, the quality was kind of bad there for a second. It just took
It
because
just takes a second.
takes a second for it to start pulling off from the server. So there you go. So what you do is you watch it, and then from there,
There's an overview
where's that?
right there. That's a short overview that you're looking at right there.
Okay.
Lesson 1 overview.
Yeah.
A lot of them are longer than that. And then you just go next lesson,
Yeah.
and it'll bring you to the quiz.
Oh, now you got a quiz. Well, why do many people avoid studying the book of Revelation?
And the first couple are more, they're not really deep questions because you're not really teaching in the first couple. You're more.
Oh, this is more of my introduction.
Yeah.
But then as it goes on, it gets a little more complex.
Yeah. If you just scroll on the left side, you can click on scroll down on the left side and go down to 50 or go down to 20.
I could go all the way down here to lesson. Oh, let's do that. Let's just go to lesson
25.
looking for one. Oh, the 2 witnesses. I love that topic. All right. So there you go. It's an overview. Love that. All right. You complete the lesson. Now you got the questions. According to John Walvoord, what does the act of measuring the temple worshipers along with the temple and altar signify? Yeah, has to do with the Gentile area and the area for the Jews, and concentration on the Jews now during that period. What does the lesson identity? What does the lesson identify the 42-month period in Revelation 11:2 as marking the midpoint? Why does the lesson identify the 42-month period in Revelation 11 verse 2 as marking the midpoint of the tribulation rather than its beginning or end? Now, if they watched and paid attention, they'd get all this. And it's 53 lessons. And guess what? Max, you did a great job on this one, Max.
Thank you.
Yes.
You also get a certificate when you pass.
When you get a certificate when you pass, do I sign their certificate?
Yeah.
I hope I do.
Signed by you.
Is it really signed or is it electronic?
Electronic.
Oh.
I mean, you're not sitting down and signing them.
I mean, I would like to, but that's fine. That's fine. You get a certificate when you're done. And Max, you're working on now grave influence, right? And we're going to have an online course for Revelation, grave influence, put your beliefs to the test, twisted scripture, twisted theology, Daniel, all these courses. And we're not charging any extra, folks. It's automatically part of your Vault membership at worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. And you can join for as little as $7.99. And guys, you're not going to believe what's coming. I've already told you about how you can go there and search our videos by keyword. And that library is getting bigger because we still got our system transcoding the videos. So the library is still growing as we finish transcoding them. It's going on 24/7. The next step will be where you ask a question and it'll answer it with a text. So what's secular humanism? What's cosmic humanism? What's the New Age movement? Who do you think are the 2 witnesses? I think it's Moses and Elisha. And I explain why. Why not Enoch? Because I explain why in the answer. And it's in my Revelation commentary as well. What I'm saying is you're going to be able to get fast answers. And I'm not looking to raise the price. Still going to make it $7.99 a month. Even though this is going to have cost us now we're at around $80,000, over $80,000 in the last year building all this, the technology, custom built. So again, we're still going to try to leave it at $7.99 a month. The more of you that join, the more access you have to this kind of great information. But the more we're able to have a budget to pay for all of it and keep going and growing. So again, I hope you'll join worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. I'm not going to take the time, but go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Check out all the great sponsors there. Worldview Talk, Bella Grace, Numi, Gatatana, the water filter, all of them. worldviewtube.com/vault. All right, joining me now is Nic Hulscher, a little Nick at night. Nic Hulscher joins us. Hello, Nick.
Oh, you can see me? Okay, I was wondering. Okay, how's it going?
Good. Did you grow up on Nick at Night?
I did. I watched a lot of George Lopez.
Is that Nick at Night,
Malcolm
George
in the
Lopez?
Middle.
Was George Lopez Nick at Night?
I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems well, I guess it was I don't know. It just seems a little Doesn't seem like a child's program, but maybe all right.
That's
who
why
knows?
it was Nick at Night.
Huh?
I think that's why it was.
Oh,
Nick
that's
at
why
Night.
it was Nick at Night. Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay. What was that one your brother grew up on? The guy that looked like Elvis. Bravo? Johnny Bravo? Whatever happened to Johnny Bravo?
I was not a fan of that show.
No, me neither. There were some weird shows on there. What was the one with the old couple living out in the middle of nowhere and the dog?
Oh,
They had some weird shows on
yeah.
there.
What's it called?
The old couple, their house was like a country farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. And then they had this dog. I just would.
I was scared of that show.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was creepy too. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had. All right. Let's talk about what's going on over at the Defender. Virologists linked to Fauci under federal investigation or under FBI investigation for smuggling dangerous pathogens into U.S., maybe including monkeypox virus. How about Ebola? Is that in here at all? Yeah. Science article. Munster has maintained ties with the DAZEC and Echo Health Alliance over the years, according to this article, including research they co-authored in 2022, Nipah virus detection in bat roots. Munster and Eco Health scientists were both cited in a 2017 Science article about hunting for the Ebola virus among African bat colonies. Okay. According to the Disinformation Chronicle, Rocky Mountain Laboratories is an integral part of NIAID's research efforts. The lab's online bio for Munster says he maintains field study sites in the Democratic Republic of Congo to study Ebola. All right, well, hopefully he didn't bring any of that back into the country. What have you found out? What's he accused of? I mean, I'm sure he's going to say he's innocent. He can come on the show and talk about it.
I looked into it. So Vincent Munster, this NIH virologist, was heavily involved with Anthony Fauci and other gain-of-function activities. He even may have contributed to the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic. He was on the Diffuse Project, which was doing all sorts of things with bats and coronaviruses. He has various laboratory activities that are very dangerous. But specifically what's happened was he was out in the Congo, where now there's that new Ebola outbreak, and he was caught in a U.S. airport smuggling pathogens back, and now the FBI is investigating him. So it is a very strange time that coincidentally there is a Ebola outbreak in the Congo declared as a public health emergency of international concern right after he leaves with these biological samples. And so, you know, they do say it was just monkeypox and other select agents. So, you know, we'd like to know exactly what were all of the pathogens in his briefcase. Was it just monkeypox, or did he snatch up some samples of Ebola as well? You know, we got to find that out. That's very, very serious.
Well, you know, I think you've been on with me before, and I've said that I don't think the American people are going to buy the old COVID type pandemic again. Next time it has to be one, I think, that is kind of like a horror show from Hollywood. It's going to have to involve people bleeding from the eyes and stuff like that. Don't you think? And or to really get people to agree to this.
Yeah, they'll need something very scary. And so they tried hantavirus a few weeks ago. That didn't pan out as they wanted. It's a dead end outbreak. It's not going to cause a pandemic. There's still 0 confirmed cases in the U.S. with the hantavirus. And now they're on to Ebola. And again, Ebola does not have pandemic potential. It's spread via direct contact with infected bodily fluids, blood, saliva, breast milk. That's how it's passed on. It's not airborne. So this, so while there's like 300 suspected cases right now in the Congo and a neighboring country, we don't think it's going to start to spread uncontrolled internationally. It's just not possible. It's just not possible now unless they modified it. And Vincent Munster, in his laboratories in Africa, or Bill Gates with his biolabs he sponsors in Africa, maybe they modified something, but it doesn't appear that that's the case. We're just going to expect to see lots of fear-mongering in the media for Ebola. And now they're bringing up the fact that the World Cup is coming to the U.S. They're saying people are going to bring Ebola here. So what we really have to look out for is illegal and illicit activities of intentionally dispersing these pathogens. That's what I would worry about. I'm not worried about it naturally coming here and spreading uncontrollably, because that's not how Ebola works.
Okay, how does it work?
You have to literally come into direct contact with infected bodily fluids. Like I said, and then the people who do become infected, a lot of them die, right? Like 40, 60% may die, and they're very sick, so they don't have the capacity to travel. And you can only transmit it when they're symptomatic. So it's not like you're going to have, asymptomatic spread, airborne everywhere. No, it's very difficult to transmit. Now, it's easy to transmit in the Congo. It's not very clean there. The conditions are ripe for such transmission, but in America, we're not going to see Ebola become a widespread pandemic unless it was modified to have airborne transmissibility. And I don't think that's going to happen, but we can't put anything past them.
Yeah, we have this by you. Moderna began developing help me with that. Bundy Buga?
Bundy Bugyo. I think that's how you say it. Bundy Bugyo or Bugyo.
Okay. An Ebola mRNA vaccine, quote, vaccine, just 4 months before the WHO declared a global emergency.
Yeah, so it's quite shocking, to say the least. So what's happened here is Bill Gates' vaccine cartel, CEPI, the Center for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation, his foundation co-founded it. They gave Moderna and Oxford University over $26 million to develop mRNA and viral vector injections against Ebola, against that new strain, 4 months before the World Health Organization declares an emergency for that exact strain.
Oh,
so
wow.
It appears, maybe they had some foreknowledge that this would occur, and that's very concerning. So we'll have to keep track of what's exactly happening there. But it appears Gates has some sort of magical 8-ball where he knows exactly what's going to happen beforehand.
What else do you have tonight over at thefocalpoints.com? Anything else?
Nothing too breaking. Really, all the talk is about Ebola. So really, we're just trying to quell the fears. In fact, here's what's important. Currently, right now, there's a 1 in 1.5 billion chance the average American will catch Ebola. 1 in 1.5 billion. You're over 1,000 times more likely to get hit with a lightning strike. Now, that's our risk profile right now. And again, I don't suspect to see large numbers of cases come to the U.S. and start to transmit. I just don't see that happening.
All right, Nic Hulscher, thefocalpoints.com, thefocalpoints.com. And what is your handle on X?
My handle is at NIC Hulscher, HULSCHER.
There you go, at NICHULSCHER. Nic Hulscher checking in. All right, little Nick at night. Thank you, Nick.
All right, appreciate it.
Nic Hulscher checking in. Check him out on his socials and at thefocalpoints.com. We'll be right back after this short break.
You've heard about the new wave of GLP-1 weight loss shots, but you've also heard about the side effects, the nausea, the fatigue, the risks of injecting synthetic hormones into your body. What if there were a better way? A natural way? Meet Bellamelt, the indulgent, sugar-free caramel treat that's quietly changing the way women take charge of their weight. Unlike injections that flood your body with synthetic GLP-1, Bellamelt works with your body, using potent botanicals and essential nutrients to help you naturally increase your own GLP-1, the same hormone that controls hunger, cravings, and fat burning. Activated the way nature intended. Just a delicious caramel melt 30 minutes before your meal. In a 10-week clinical study of its key ingredient, African mango, participants lost an average of 28 pounds, reduced body fat by over 18%, and trimmed nearly 7 inches off their waist. Visit melissahousebg.com today. That's melissahousebg.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.
Joining me now is David Pyne to give us the latest update from a national security standpoint. David, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, Brandy, great to be back with you.
All right, so I've been talking to you since Trump went to China. I had Patrick Wood and Courtney Turner on the other day. They think that Trump went over there with all the tech bros and basically was inviting China to join the new global order and the tech bro order and all that's going to happen, and either get on board or don't. But we're boxing you in. We've taken out Venezuela. We're working on Cuba. We're doing what we're doing with Iran. And we're getting some of these people that are part of the BRICS movement to jump off and come with us. We're building IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. They think that they're maneuvering the table big time on China, kind of boxing them in. What are your thoughts? What do you think that trip was really all about? And where do you see this going?
Well, I think President Trump, wanted to meet with President Xi in Beijing to try to get some kind of trade deal, primarily to get China to maybe invest up to $1 trillion and build Chinese-owned factories and have that provide tens of thousands of jobs for U.S. workers. I think that's not America first. He talked about he ran on trying to get Chinese influence out of our economy. He had Liberation Day on April 2nd, famously of last year, and announced our independence from China. And had some great tariffs. And this trip, I think, was kind of the opposite of what he's previously tried to accomplish. So I think it was kind of a 180 on his part. He also wanted to open up the Chinese economy to all those tech billionaires he brought with them. I'm not sure. I guess he thinks that we'll get more tax income from more investment in China, and I don't think that he's really right about that. Maybe it'll help the stock market. But obviously, any investment in China, especially, is very destructive in terms of our trade deficit and siphoning wealth from the United States into communist China to help pay for their massive nuclear missile buildup and the buildup of their economy into what I am increasingly assessing is probably the most powerful in the world, certainly in terms of conventional military power. And I think a lot of the other things that Trump was trying to accomplish, he was trying to get Xi Jinping to agree to pressure Iran to surrender to U.S. maximalist peace terms. I think that was unsuccessful. The only thing that China committed to is, well, they didn't commit to anything, really. They issued a statement saying that they want peace restored between the U.S. and Iran as soon as possible. Perhaps they would offer some kind of mediation, as Russian President Putin has. But there was no statement on their end, at least, saying that Iran can't have nuclear weapons, or that it has to reopen the strait. So I think a lot of the claims that the White House made in a so-called joint communique about the Beijing trip were not accurate.
How concerned are you if the war starts back up, or with between America and Iran? How concerned which I think is really a proxy war we're fighting with China through Iran. How concerned are you about our missiles and how many we have and our stockpile? I mean, at some point between Ukraine and Iran, Aren't we getting a little low?
We're getting extremely low, and it's really affecting our ability to deter Chinese aggression against Taiwan, which, of course, was another subject that Trump mentioned. And he's kind of doubled down on what he stated that he really has no interest in defending Taiwan from a Chinese attack. And I think that is America first. I think that's we do have a vested interest in our national survival, and that we do not want to fight a nuclear superpower. In a full-scale war, but I think that there is a danger of Trump resuming his war against Iran. Of course, the breaking news is that he called off military strikes that he claimed were imminent as of tomorrow, and I think that's a good move if indeed that was the plan to resume full-scale military operations against Iran, because I think that is very much against U.S. interests, because as you alluded to, our missile stockpile in terms of offensive and defensive missiles are down around probably 50 to 55% of what it was pre-war. And we'd already exhausted a lot of our missiles in our previous war with Iran, the 12-day war, as well as our failed war against the Houthis in Yemen. So those missile stockpiles, reportedly will take about 4 to 6 years to replenish, and that's assuming we don't restart a full-scale bombing campaign against Iran. The problem is, as I warned at the beginning of the war, this was an unwinnable war from the outset, which would result in Iran's strategic victory. It's also a forever war. Trump has been trying to get out of the war reportedly since at least March 21st, and I think probably the night one of the war when Iran launched cruise missile strikes on the Abraham Lincoln. The sooner that Trump ends the war, the better. And unfortunately, the U.S. military strikes have had some a lot of successes, but they've also had a lot of misses. In that Iran, U.S. intelligence now assesses that Iran possesses 70% of its pre-war stockpile of ballistic and cruise missiles, and 90% of its underground missile launchers and missile production facilities, which means that they can rapidly mass produce and restore the missile capabilities that we somewhat degraded during the 38-day war.
So let's go back to Taiwan. I agree with you. I mean, do we really want to get into a world war with China over Taiwan? I feel for the people of Taiwan, but we have to obviously, like you said, do what's in our best interest as a country when it comes to national security. But what about the chips, the manufacturing chips? How fast are we setting up manufacturing of chips here in the U.S. that our power grid, medical, water, so much depends on those chips coming largely out of Taiwan, correct?
Yeah, that the chips issue it's critical. As Gordon Chain has stated, we produce about Taiwan produces about 90 to 92% of the world's advanced semiconductors. I think it's 90%. But TSMC has built a plant in Phoenix, and I have my daughter lives there, and she says it's operational. There's lots of folks that are working there. So they are producing chips here in the United States, not at the rate it needs to be. So certainly that is a national security issue. But the problem is the folks that talk about the need to fight a war against China to defend those chip plants. Really, I mean, what I've heard is that the U.S. plan would be to destroy that chip factory if China invaded Taiwan. So that's certainly an America First option, is that we could ensure that those chips didn't fall into Chinese hands, and we could launch those strikes against the plant versus and simply claim that we're not attacking China. We're just going to take out those plants, and I think that would avert a war. I don't think it's necessary that we do that, but if that's the national security strategy that Trump would opt for, I think that would be an acceptable option. That is a critical issue, but there's no scenario in which the U.S. is successful in defending Taiwan and those chip plants survive. So either way, we lose the plants. Best case, I suppose, or one option would be for China to resell those chips to us at a higher price, and essentially almost a monopoly situation. So there's no good answer, is what I'm trying to say to that quandary.
To Ukraine, David. We now, May 17th, today, I guess that was yesterday, Sunday, our time. I guess Moscow got hit again really hard. Look at this. I mean, wow, I'm sure you've seen these images, correct?
I haven't seen those images. I was aware of the strikes.
Okay. So what do you know about all this? I mean, they say it was just pretty intense barrage by Ukraine onto Russia.
Yeah, so of course they had that 3-day ceasefire during the Russian Victory Day celebrations. Russia's military parade was unusually absent in terms of the military vehicles and tanks and missile launchers they typically have. It was mostly just troops and veterans and leaders. So it was a kind of a toned down exercise. But since that ceasefire expired, Russia did unleash the most massive missile strike on Kyiv, also including hundreds of drones. I think it was something on the order of almost 1,500 is what I heard, and that's really the record for any war to have that many missiles and drones strike any country in a single day. And those strikes reportedly killed one Ukrainian. So obviously they were not at all directed against military, or rather civilian targets. And then Ukraine responded with massive drone strikes on Moscow that killed 18. Last I heard, I haven't seen the stats for today. But this is just giving Putin a reason to escalate the war. And he stated in his Victory Day speech that this war would end one way or the other with peace or outright Russian victory, in terms of Ukraine's military collapse by the end of the year. And he said he would prefer to have direct negotiations with the EU to try to end the war with a diplomatic solution rather than overrunning, Ukraine with Russian forces.
Supposedly that was Moscow that was hit. That original footage I showed was apparently Moscow being hit by these drones. So now I think it's the Associated Press is reporting that in the last few hours, Russia has turned, there's a drone. Russia has turned around and hit Ukraine. So this thing does not seem to be settling down. If anything, it's escalating. Let's see what the Associated Press has got. I just saw a report by them. Here we go. They're saying, Associated Press is reporting that Russia targeted 8 regions of Ukraine in its latest nighttime drone and missile barrage. Ukraine President Zelensky said Monday the city of Dnipro and the surround. Say that again.
Dnipro.
Okay. And the surrounding central region of Ukraine bore the brunt of the attack, according to officials. So there you go. So this thing is just going back and forth, back and forth. So it's not toning down, it's escalating. Now, this is what some of the leaders in Europe, I think, have been wanting, right? They didn't want this thing to get done, right?
No, absolutely not. The EU leaders and Zelensky himself have been pushing to, extend this war indefinitely, essentially. And that's really surprising for Zelensky because based on my analysis, Ukraine is at risk of running out of troops by the end of the year, literally, down to the 10,000s. So I know that they've stepped up some of their, forced draft conscription campaign, trying to, kidnap young men off the streets, and perhaps that will help their overall force levels. But essentially, they've been losing almost 20,000 troops net every month over the last year, 12 months. So they're really scraping the barrel. they're definitely in the 100,000s. They don't have 200,000 troops. They have less than that. Russia has 4 to 6 times as many troops inside of Ukraine than Ukraine has in terms of active duty forces. And, Russian troops have been inflicting 4.5 times as many casualties on Ukrainian forces than Ukraine has been inflicting on Russia. So as President Trump warned Zelensky, Ukraine is guaranteed to lose the war. And if he doesn't accept Russia's very reasonable peace terms, in his words, Ukraine faces potential destruction. The strange thing is that Putin is very, very different from the person that the neocons are presenting him as, and that he is very reluctant. I've heard from a Russian military source that he's very reluctant to move on Kyiv. He doesn't want to do it. He's afraid that NATO might react. So he's been trying to have a diplomatic solution, basically a face-saving exit where he gets 1% more of Ukraine's territory in the Donbass and gets them to disarm militarily, and of course stay neutral out of NATO.
So you saw the headline I put up there a while ago. NBC News is reporting that the Kremlin is saying that Ukraine peace talks can resume even after Moscow faced the biggest attack in a year. Putin seems to want this thing over, doesn't he?
Yeah, and this is good news. This is actually a change in Russia's position, because after the U.S. invaded Iran, or rather not invaded, but started bombing Iran with Operation Epic Fury on February 28th, basically Russian officials said all peace talks with the U.S. and Ukraine would be suspended indefinitely. And so this is good that Russia is willing to return to the peace table. They've been sitting at the peace table almost alone for many years, and then Trump has made some good attempts to try to negotiate with them, but he's refused, with the exception of 1 week from March 4th to 11th of last year. He's refused to suspend Ukrainian U.S. security assistance to Ukraine, and that's really the lever we need to use to get Zelensky to agree to, again, what Trump has stated are Russia's mostly reasonable peace terms.
All right, very interesting. Going to be a very interesting summer, isn't it?
Yeah, a very eventful summer. I'm very concerned that Trump plans to extend the war, extend the blockade for many months, maybe at the end of the year, and we're facing a potential U.S. Economic recession as well as a global recession if he does. So I'm praying and hoping that he puts America first and pulls the U.S. out of the war, either accepting a compromise peace deal with Iran, not a maximalist peace deal that he's been insisting on, or simply by ending the blockade and kind of winding it down and pulling some U.S. naval forces from the region.
And then we go to the issue of him talking about we need to get 500,000 Chinese students continuing to come to America or these universities will collapse. And I said on Friday night, I played that. I said, good, let these universities collapse. Most of them are schools of Marxism anyway, so let them collapse. And he talks about 500,000 students coming here. Then he was talking about, what was the other thing he talked about, guys? 500,000 Chinese students, and he went on to mention one other thing. You guys remember what it was?
Yeah, the farmland.
Oh, the farmland. Yeah. Good job. Thank you. The farmland prices would collapse and we'd have them here. Well, I don't have a problem with farmland prices coming down. They're way overheated in most places anyway, and farmers are having a hard time adding to their acreage, and many of them would love to expand their family farms, whether we're talking about a small family or a large corporate family that's built up a big business. But I'm all for prices coming down. I'm for prices coming down in housing. I'm for prices coming down in farmland. I mean, I don't know, again, what the whole purpose is of keeping these prices high. I know President Trump says, well, we don't want home prices coming down too far because the older people have all their wealth in that. Well, it doesn't matter unless they're selling. If they're not selling, it doesn't matter if the price of their home stays high. Okay. But if prices come down where they're more reasonable, entrepreneurs will go in and buy up these homes, and they will remodel them and put them back on the market, or they'll rent them out, which this administration seems really against home rentals, which again, I think is a bad idea. I'm for the free market deciding. I don't care if corporations buy up homes. A lot of these corporations, by the way, are small businesses run by families that buy up homes, remodel them. And again, I can take you to parts of Memphis where you had blight-filled streets, literal drug streets 10 years ago. Now those homes have all been bought, gutted, remodeled. They're beautiful and they're rented. I mean, that's who else is going to have an incentive? So prices coming down can have negative impact on some people, but prices coming down allows expansion for farmers. It allows expansion for entrepreneurs who will go in and say, now that price is reasonable to go in, buy it, gut it, remodel, and rent. So I'm sorry, a lot of this pricing is artificial anyway from the money supply. It's artificial, meaning it's been pushed there by the government. It's not based on real value in some cases. And now I know I'm getting into economics, which may or may not be your area, but I don't like the idea of, oh yeah, we got to let the Chi-Coms keep coming in here by farmland or the farmland prices will collapse.
Yeah, when Trump's supporters talk about him doing this global reset and kind of a 5D chess move with his Beijing summit, I see the opposite. I think he is pursuing a reset, but the reset is going from being kind of hard line on China and everything but Taiwan to being soft, and you see that with the trade deal. He's looking for a mutually beneficial trade deal with China that will kind of increase the billionaires' bottom line, maybe have communist China build car manufacturing facilities here in the United States to potentially put U.S. companies maybe not out of business but hurt them and take jobs away from U.S. companies and give them to communist China. This is not the America First president that we voted for, and we've seen that as he's put America last in other areas as well. A lot of his MAGA supporters, like myself, have questioned the wisdom of the war in Iran. What's in it for us, essentially, in terms of America? Obviously, we're hurting economically quite a bit. We've been weakened militarily. We haven't achieved our goals of, taking control of the Strait of Hormuz, which was under no one's control before the war. So it's caused more problems than it's resolved. I'm very concerned that I don't know if Trump's going senile or what's going on. But his presidential legacy is increasingly being trashed, and you can see it in his poll numbers. His poll numbers have decreased into the 30s in the Real Clear Politics average for the first time today. Republicans, the generic poll for the congressional races has gone to 7.2%, which is going to be a massive Democrat landslide unless Trump can change things up. And the only way he can do that is by pulling out of the war with Iran and focusing like a laser in improving the U.S. economy.
Over at technocracy.news, they have this headline: U.S. and China agree to establish trade and investment boards. What we've been talking about here. Boeing aircraft. China committed to purchasing 200 Boeing jets, with Trump suggesting it could grow to 750. Why do we now? Are these military or commercial?
Those are commercial. Those are passenger jets. It was a verbal commitment that we understand, and China doesn't have a good record on keeping its written agreements, let alone its verbal agreements. So my assessment and prediction is that this deal will never come to fruition.
All right. Well, it does seem like he has. He doesn't face re-election. I don't even know if he cares about the midterms, but maybe he does. Supposedly he has several $100 million stored up in his war chest that he's going to use for the midterms. But I don't know. If you had to guess right now how the midterms turn out with the redistricting, I mean, that may be the only thing that saves them. But what do you make of that? If you had to make a prediction tonight, what do you see for the fall election?
Well, the predictions that I've seen show us losing the Republicans losing about 26 House seats. Of course, we only need to lose a few to deliver a House control from the Republicans, the Democrats. probably about four U.S. Senate seats, I would say minimum. So that would give the Democrats control of the Senate as well, with about a 51-49 majority. So I think it's going to be grimmer than that. I think we're going to see Democrat gains in the 30s, perhaps in the House, probably 5 or 6 seats in the Senate. So yeah, my predictions aren't good. I've been pretty accurate in the past in terms of my predictions, but obviously there are some months to change these things up. But really, I think the Iran blockade is the principal driver, which is alienating Trump's base supporters like myself. I was a longtime Trump supporter and kind of have gone away from that, obviously with his attacks on Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and a lot of Thomas Massie, the greatest constitutionalist we've had in Congress since Ron Paul, who's likely to be defeated. And we don't need to address the reasons for that, but obviously he's had a personal dispute with President Trump. And now he's going after, Lauren Boebert in Colorado, another great conservative, Marjorie Taylor Greene, obviously. But there's huge fissures, and there's reportedly about 21% of Trump voters regret voting for him, either regret or say they would not have voted for him if they knew the policies that he would end up pursuing. Mm-hmm. And that amounts to about 17 million. So if the election were held tomorrow for Trump to be reelected, I think he'd lose in a landslide to some generic Democrat candidate. And really, I think that's going to be his legacy if he keeps this up. Is we're going to have a generational move to Democrat control of the White House and both houses of Congress.
Mm. And I don't have to agree with someone on every issue when it comes to politics. Like Reagan said famously, someone that we agree with 80% of the time is not a 20% enemy. And I've interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene several times in person and via Zoom, but also in person. There's some things she stands for. I don't agree with her. But I'll take somebody that's wanting to fight the communists, secure the border, deal with the illegal immigration, deal with the issue of our dollar being debased. There's a lot of areas where I can agree with her. And sometimes in the arena of politics, you have to say, I don't agree with that. I think that really stinks. But I agree with this person over here on these 5 or 6, 7 major issues that depend on our national security. And I can just be an adult about it, knowing this is politics, right? The next candidate is going to be the same thing, maybe different issues, but we're not going to agree with people 100% of the time. Now, when it comes to doctrinal things, then I'm not going to compromise my faith or doctrine. But when it comes to politics, I can say I don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean we need to go to war with each other, particularly if we already have a small coalition. So maybe I don't agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on some things. Maybe I don't agree with Thomas Massie on some things. Maybe I don't agree with Lauren Boebert on some things, right? But if I can agree with them on 70% plus, particularly when we're at this critical hour for saving the country, let's set aside our fighting and keep moving forward, because otherwise Kamala Harris is coming back. She's going to do her best to destroy the Electoral College that I reported on tonight, my worldview report. And we're going to be right back to where we were. I don't even have to agree, and I'm pretty critical of President Trump at times. But I'm also quick to praise him where it's necessary. But he does seem to have changed a lot, and he seems to have flipped. And I wish he would just get back to it. And even though, again, I understand his frustration with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, some of these people for criticizing him, that's politics, right? She has a base. They have a base that they have to think about for a re-election, particularly the members of Congress who are constantly basically campaigning because the election is always 2 years or less away. So I think he's destroying his own base. And I think sometimes that has nothing to do with policy as much as it does personality. They've said something about him and he doesn't like it.
Yeah,
because, let me just say one more point, because if he doesn't agree with what they stand for, he should just debate them on that issue. Use your social media and say, I don't agree with her or him. Here's why. But I sure appreciate the fact they vote with me 90% of the time, and move on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thomas Massie has a voting record where he's voted 90% in agreement with President Trump. And So why is he being targeted? Why is he being singled out? Along with Lauren Boebert for daring to campaign with him, or Marjorie Taylor Greene for disagreeing with Trump on a couple issues, including the Epstein cover-up. It just smacks Trump supporters the wrong way. At least the 21% that have been alienated.
Yep.
And you want to be constantly building your coalition. President Trump did an amazing job. He ran an amazing campaign. Came back from the dead, essentially. He was under massive lawfare, 4 different trials, or, multiple convictions on fake charges, all of it bogus, all of it politically motivated. And he ran as a peace candidate, and the Republicans won on the message of peace through strength. And instead, he's pursued a policy I would call as war through weakness. And that's a policy it's not going to play well in the midterm elections. It's certainly not going to play well in the 2028 White House race. And as you mentioned, he's giving in to Chinese farmland. They own about 236,000 acres across the country, and saying that it's okay if they buy more. Those are serious national security threats that the U.S. faces. They're located by 17 key U.S. military bases, with up to 100,000 Chinese military-age men that are likely special forces and airborne troops right here in our own country that could defeat us in any war with China without a single missile being fired from the Chinese mainland.
dpine.substack.com, dpine.substack.com. Quick question that came to my mind. Cuba. What do you make of these 300 drones they supposedly have, maybe targeting Florida? Is that of concern or not?
I haven't heard the reports. I know that I've always viewed Cuba as a threat. I support, efforts to try to liberate Cuba, not through invasion, not through direct U.S. military action, but through other means. Obviously, they're at risk of having their economy collapse with their grid being taken down by the U.S. oil embargo. We definitely need to consider that threat. I don't think 300 drones. It depends on the size of the drone as to what threat they could pose. If they're heavy Shahed type drones, that's obviously a much bigger issue than if they're lighter to medium range recon drones that may lack the range to hit Florida.
Yeah, I don't know what size they are. 300 military drones. So those could be pretty good size. And the question is, what are they going to target with those 300? Because you and I know that if they were to target the power grid, supposedly they want to even use them. Cuba's required more than 300 military drones and recently began discussing plans to use them to attack the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay and possibly Key West. Military vessels and possibly Key West. So
I would assess that this is essentially a pretense for war, that Trump is trying to create a pretext from which to bomb them, to kidnap their president. We've heard reports that he's wanting to do a Maduro snatch and grab of their president. He's reportedly trying to indict the former president, Raul Castro, who's 94 years old. He's not involved in. He is actually he's no longer the leader of the Cuban Communist Party. So I don't think there's any purpose for us to pursue that. But he wants to replace Cuba's current president with Raul Castro's grandson. I'd love to see that if indeed he's someone we can work with who's communist, but more willing to work with the U.S. That'd be great. But I'm just kind of a little bit, concerned that things that it won't turn out well. The Maduro raid, I don't think that really turned out all that great for the U.S. because we're basically propping up the communist regime there by lifting sanctions on them.
Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, they're now reporting that Cuba has been buying up drones and varying capabilities from both Russia and Iran for the last 3 years and kept them hidden. In the last month, Cuban officials have reached out to their Russian counterparts for more drones and military accounts, officials claim. So, again, if these are military drones, they would be a pretty good size, it sounds like. But, and In a statement,
Yeah.
Cuba's embassy did not deny they possessed the drones, attack drones, saying, like any country, Cuba has a right to defend itself against external aggression. So, again, I don't know what they would do with these drones, but what if if they knew the right substations to hit? I don't think I need to give them any ideas. It's all out there. But if they knew the right substations to hit in Florida, that could be a real problem for Florida and the country.
Yeah, that'd probably be the biggest threat because even 300 heavy drones don't really constitute a huge military threat to the U.S. We're not talking weapons of mass destruction unless there's some evidence that they've been supplied with nuclear warheads or something of that nature. So, I think a lot depends on the range. Obviously, there are drones, heavy drones in the possession of Iran, Russia, Cuba, and China that have ranges of about 1,500 miles. But most drones are much shorter range. So if the range is 100 miles, they're not going to really pose much of a threat to the United States.
Mm. But you agree, if they wanted to target power substations, that could be a problem.
Again, it would depend on the range. If they were long range, it could cover most of the state of Florida. I think that could pose a major threat. I'm not sure that there are 9 key substations or more in Florida that could take out our entire eastern grid, but it's certainly possible.
Mm. Well, just even the death toll, if they hit and put the power down in Florida for any considerable time, particularly if it goes into the summer months with heat and older population, that in itself would be a problem.
It would, but you have to. It's more. A threat is measured in terms of intent and capability. So I would argue that this is likely more of a defensive countermeasure against potential U.S. strikes. China has, or rather, Cuba has no incentive to do a first strike with drones against the U.S., knowing that we have nuclear weapons that could obliterate them. It just strains credulity to believe that they have those kind of plans to preemptively attack the United States.
So this is kind of their last ditch gasp of the communist power regime. This might be their last ditch move if they were under attack or about to be under attack.
Yeah, I think Iran, or rather Cuba, communist Cuba, is trying to deter a U.S. attack, and I think that's the purpose of this. It's primarily defensive as a potential counterattack move.
dpine.substack.com, dpine.substack.com. National security correspondent checking in tonight, David Pyne. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Brandon. Always a pleasure.
You too, my friend. We'll be right back, guys, right after this short break.
Take a look at the water you just poured. It looks clean. It tastes fine. But what's really in it? Lead, fluoride, arsenic, chlorine, pesticides, PFAS forever chemicals, pharmaceutical residues, and bacteria. Every single day, these toxins flow straight from your tap into your glass, into your family. It's time for Sentry H2O from Worldview Water. Sentry H2O is the ultimate water treatment technology, designed to remove harmful toxins, balance your water's pH, and enrich it with essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, the way nature intended. From commercial-scale systems to whole house filtration to crisp, delicious drinking water right at your kitchen sink and shower, Sentry H2O delivers cleaner, healthier water everywhere you need it. No plumber, no tools, no plumbing knowledge required. Perfect for homes, apartments, rentals, RVs, refrigerators, and more. Because everyone deserves access to clean, healthy water. Visit worldviewwater.net. That's worldviewwater.net.
Last week, you guys know I wrote an article over at worldviewtimes.com called The Great Retirement Heist. Do Americans really own their investments? And I did a Worldview report commentary on this, as you know. The article's there at Worldview Times. And due to the small print and the changes, it started in the 1970s where lawmakers quietly adopt sweeping changes to security ownership laws across all 50 states. The result being the creation of the Depository Trust Company, or DTC, which centralized custody of these securities into one enormous financial clearing structure. Today, the DTC reportedly holds a custody of more than $100 trillion in assets. Okay, and we dealt with that on Friday night as well with Courtney Turner and Patrick Wood. Well, Michael Weiner read the article and he did a little research over the weekend and took some notes. And he's here at my request to talk about the threat facing a lot of you that are baby boomers in this audience and facing a lot of the young people, their children, who many of them, particularly in these difficult times, are one day counting on perhaps a little help with an inheritance. That's if their parents don't need all the money for caring for themselves in their old age, which is certainly their right to do. And many have set aside for their own personal care to the very end, and hopes that they won't need a lot of it, that maybe they'll be blessed with going quickly when they do. While they want to live as long as they can, when you finally realize that you're coming to the end, you don't want it to drag out forever. Not only do you not want that to happen to you, you don't want it to happen to your loved ones, and you don't want it to happen to your bank accounts and investments, because many want to leave something to their children and grandchildren to help them out, particularly in this more difficult time we're living in. So this is multi-generational in its importance. Joining me now is Michael Weiner. Michael, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Good evening, Brandon.
Good evening, Michael Weiner. First of all, you read my article. I asked you to read it over the weekend. What did you make of the Great Retirement Heist?
It's a wake-up call. It's a consistent wake-up calls that come out of Worldview, and people should really read into this, because you do not control your retirement. If you have a 401k, it's owned by your employer. That's why they legitimately, like I said in the old movie Wall Street, they talked about that Blue Star Airlines. They wanted it for their retirement plan. They literally, you do not control it until you leave. And even then, most people, probably 60% of them, leave it there. When you have to understand, when you left the company and you retired and you leave your money in the 401k at a former employer, you're the last person they care about. If the ship is sinking, you're going overboard right away. They don't need you. They're going to take care of whoever's still working there first. But more importantly, the stocks you own. We've been over conversations about stocks, mutual funds, bank accounts, and consistently it shows that you actually do not own it. They own it. That's why you've got to get permission for them to do it. And that's why we constantly have these horror stories of people who are legitimately being brutalized by the people who have their accounts. I have one client recently, and I can't needless to say mention names, a Worldview person who was told by her financial person, because they did not want to do what they were told to do, catch this, told to do, that they were being fired. How do you fire somebody where they work for you? Help me out here. This whole industry is fraught with misunderstanding. Most people do not have a clue of what they own. How they are sold is by the interest they attain on their account. Well, Mr. Smith, we've been making you this much money. We've been accomplishing this, Mrs. Jones or Miss Jones. We're getting this for you. But you have no idea of exactly what you hold. I had a person call me up after one of the shows and said, I started reading what I owned in mutual funds, and her reaction was, oh my goodness, I had no idea that's what it was. Well, that's because what you're sold is based on what they'll pay you. And as I said before, and I will say again, when things crash, and we are heading to that, and if you think you're not, you're foolish, guess what? The first people that you think are going to lose, all the high-risk people, strangely enough, high risk, medium, and low risk, you all lose the same. It doesn't matter. It's all conversation. But when you talk about stocks, do you actually own the stocks? No. The certificate is held literally by the company. Do you own the mutual funds? No, it's held by the mutual fund company. Your bank account based on Dodd-Frank's, do you actually own that? No, you don't. Bail in. Read it. Bail in. We send you the stuff about the great taking. Brandon made that readily available. There's so much you get offered through Worldview that legitimately it should be something when you pay your fees with all these ridiculous companies that you do your annual membership. Think about that when you don't join Worldview. It's ridiculous. But more importantly, getting back on topic here, Brandon, you nailed it again. These people with their retirement plans, we are legitimately looking at one of the biggest retirement booms in the history of this country, the baby boomers, which I'm one of, you're not one of, but at the end of the day, The baby boomer generation controls 60 to 80 trillion dollars in retirement money. Who do you think is salivating to get their hands on that? The Democrats. The Democrat socialists literally are salivating to get their hands on that money. And they have a plan. And they've made it clear. And people, you don't get it. We listened to the news over the weekend. The Democrat socialists have now stated they want to literally change or get rid of the Senate. They want to change or get rid of the Supreme Court. They want to have a constitutional convention. They want to get rid of the filibuster. I don't know why the Thune doesn't want to do it. I don't want to get into that. That's another show. Literally, they want to literally do everything they can to make this a socialist democratic nation. They want to have a constitutional convention and rewrite it because they don't like the Constitution. It goes against it. They don't like it. And what do you think they also don't like? You find me a socialist nation unless you are committed to being part of the Politburo, as they used to call it in Russia, or the hierarchy in China. How many people you think leave their wealth to their family in socialist nation? It doesn't happen. That's the plan. And we're going to go over that in today's show. We're going to go over what is going to happen to your family with what you put away and what happened to the baby boomers family from the 1910 to 1920, the biggest industrial age revolution in the country's history. And all the wealth that it created, what happened to it? Didn't come to my father. But that you were absolutely right, Brandon. What you went into that, they do not own that. They do not own it at all. And they don't pay attention to it because they don't read into it.
All right, let's talk about that. So a lot of folks didn't get an inheritance from their parents. You just made reference. Give the timestamp again and why.
Let's go into that. Let's go back to the 1900 to 1920. We all call that the industrial age. Horse and buggies disappeared. We'd be building factories all over America. Wealth was going crazy. My grandfather came here. He was a master plumber. He made a fortune in Detroit doing factories there. Lost all of it. You know, what's interesting is 1933 came along. And all of these people were looking at all this wealth that was being created by this up and coming middle class. The ultra wealthy, like the Kennedys and the Rockefellers, they didn't like that. So they devalued the dollar, destroyed the currency, destroyed the wealth, put America into soup kitchens and soup bread lines. So my father's father, who had a fortune at one time, in those days, over $1 million, a lot of money, left his son nothing. How many of you can turn back to your parents if you were lucky enough that they were still alive, that are over 65, and can be able to say to them, how much did your mom or dad leave you? Hardly anything. What happened to all that wealth from 1900 to 1920 that was developed by all of those people like my grandfather and other people who were building wealth in America? The government took it. They devalued the dollar. They changed the currency. They restructured land ownership. They raised the taxes, and then they made everybody dependent. What got us out of that, what made your parents and myself and other people comfortable to leave for their families, was World War II, where we stopped those progressives. We stopped those socialists. We fought a war. Harry Truman was a nightmare. But then along came a guy named Eisenhower, the underrated president in our history. And he built a new industrial age that my father took part in, that built the shoe store chain, who built wealth. All of your people, a lot of you out there who's literally have moms and dads, they built wealth right now that they literally shared with us. And we have built wealth off of them. We came from that age. We built wealth from 1946 all the way to where we are right now with the baby boomers coming to retirement. And what do we have facing us right now? Socialism. We have the Democrats talking about wealth management, the ultra rich. Anybody they point to, Brandon, as ultra rich is anybody who has money. So all of you that are comfortably sitting there and you've got money in your mutual funds and your bonds and your annuities, and you just think, oh boy, I'm going to leave that for my kids. All of us have the same statement. I have children. I know Brandon has his family, younger than me. God knows Methuselah is probably younger than me. But at the end of the day, your money is not going to go to your family if these people take over this country. And it might be in our lifetime, and very likely in our lifetime in the months ahead. If they win the presidency, look what's going on in New York. Not only are they going after the Jews and the Zionists, and after that, guess what? Christians coming up. Wealthy people are being taxed. Goodness knows, if you have money there, you have got a bullseye on your back, and they trickle down the system. And what happens to you after that wealth is eaten up? What happens to you when they start looking, well, wait a minute, John Smith or Mrs. Jones, she's got all that money she made working at that company and saved it all, and she's leaving it for her son and daughter. Well, goodness knows that's not right. It should go back to the people. Their son and daughter are being taken care of by the government. If you don't think that's possible, listen to the statements of the main Democrats out there right now, be it Kamala Harris, Hakeem Jeffrey, the liar Schumer, all of these people. They all talk about taking over and redistributing wealth, but the only people they don't want to take it to is from themselves. So you have a major, major threshold over time. If my grandfather, God love him, if he would be here standing next to me right now, which would be really cool, trust me, he would be telling you, put your money in something you control. That's why they made gold illegal. Why did they make gold illegal? You got to understand, people out there say gold was illegal. How was it illegal? It was a felony to own gold in America for 40 years. Why? It was a true source of its store of wealth. And now you talk to your financial planners, 9 out of 10. Oh, don't buy gold. Why would you want to? Why would they not want you to buy gold? Because it doesn't pay commissions. And only it's a hard asset purchase. They don't want you to own that. The government, under socialist environments, don't want you to own a house. They'll supply you an apartment. They'll supply you. Brandon, it's the biggest shift coming in our face right now. And what bothers me is the fact that people are not paying attention. We talk to people every day. Oh, well, I'll get a little gold, but most of my stuff is in stuff that I'm going to share with my family. Guess what? In 2028, if the Democrats win the presidency, if they take over Congress right now, they will get your money. You will not have your estates you think you have. They will eat it up, chop it up, and shred it, and then dissolve it into their own pockets. Roosevelt did it. Our grandparents, my grandparents, and my father did not get the inheritance his father built up. You are subject to that exposure, and if you don't get it, you will suffer a loss that you will not. You'll be upstairs playing gin rummy with me, and we'll be looking down at a desolate environment. And you think I'm being overreactionary? I'm just telling you the truth. Why did they make gold illegal for 40 years? What's the big deal about owning gold? It was a store of wealth, and they didn't want our families, they wanted it to come back to the government. Why? It's a simple answer, Brandon.
All right, so Michael, what is the time frame? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I hear a lot of people talking about the window here, that we're in this debt loop. We're in this debt loop, and we're reaching the end of the dollar in this debt-based system. How much longer do you think this can go on?
It's already died. It already died. This already happened. This is not something that's going to happen. It's already happened. It's how we are dealing with fallout right now. And how that fallout is going to be dealt with is completely up to you.
And this is the graphic that Patrick Wood and Courtney Turner made. The Pax Silica, the operating system of the AI age. You see the Clarity Act at the bottom. It just passed out of a Senate committee the other night, by the way.
Exactly. And you see where the benefit goes, not to the people, to the government and the corporations, not to the people. It's absolutely amazing who owns the rails of the AI civilization and why President Trump is buying into it so strong and watching what the Chinese are doing. The Chinese are looking at it because of the fact they want to control the economies of the world. China wants to be the strongest economy in the world, and the key to success is tied into the AI monetary system. That's why they're going digital. That's why we're running to the Clarity Act. But nobody is explaining to us what the fallout will be on the other side, Brandon. It's the same thing what Patrick's talking about. We try to show you, and then it just happens. It's going on right now. That's why you have an opportunity to shore up and protect right now. But the first thing, when people say to me, what's the first thing that's going to happen? They're not going to take your money. They're going to stop your ability to move it. Once you can't move it, once traffic stops, they can just grab it when they want. And that's just that we're at the beginnings of that with digital currency. And that's why the importance of all of you people who have retired and you're over 65 and you're at 60 and you're getting ready to retire and you are retired and you're in your 70s. Oh, I don't want to mess with this. It's all taken care of. It's in my estate. And then you assume it's going to your family. Good luck with that. By the time your family gets it, what they might have either might not exist or will deteriorate, just like it did to the people in the 30s. You had people living in beautiful homes and literally living a nice life, and literally 30 days later, they're in a park, literally building a shack. How did that happen? The government just twisted the page. And that's what Patrick's talking about and what I'm saying right now. And it's so upsetting that you think you're getting through to people on it, then they go back to the financial whiz kid. I mean, please don't. We've been through this stuff. I know Pat's talking about other people about degrees. You want degrees? I'll give you degrees. Who cares about that? It's common sense that rules us. Most people I talk to, legitimately, their gut is talking to them. Then they go back and talk to their financial. Oh, that's crazy. You don't want to do that. Really? Why? Why, if it was crazy to own gold in 1932, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't crazy for almost 140 years to own gold in this country. Why in 1933 was it crazy? Why was it a felony? Because people like yourselves that are out there that have put away money had too much, and they've got to get it. They're on a mission to get the wealth you have built. I don't care if it's 10,000, 10 million, 100 million, or 5,000 or 500,000. They want it. And if you don't do something about it, that AI world is a slick way of doing it fast, Brandon. That's what it's a slick way of making it happen real quickly.
All right, get your free packet of information. Any more facts you want to throw out to us before we let you go?
Yeah, I would like to talk about the fact of what's going on. If you want to pay attention to your exposure, you see all these shows coming out with statements that are being made by the Democrats. They all have, and they're Democrat socialists, again, they have one statement, consistent. They want to change America. They want to change America. That would mean changing your ability to be self-reliant, changing your self-wealth, changing what you have built up, changing your banking. If they could control, I've said it 1,000 times and now 1,001. They want to control your money. If they control your money, they control you. We can help you, as Worldview does, to sit back and plan ahead and protect your estate. If you protected it already and you don't think you protected it enough, do something about it. If you have a retirement plan and you haven't done anything about it, do something about it before you can't. Because the first thing they will stop is your ability to transfer your funds. And Ronald Reagan was right in 1986 when he created gold IRAs. His concern was about the fact of a government overreach into retirement area. How right he was. So I can tell you now, we're here to help. If you want to do something about it, call. That's all I can say. I will spend time with you. I promise you that. And if you are a client already, you better reassess where you're at before you can't. And if you don't think you can, talk to your parents if they're still alive and what happened to their parents. Because their wealth they got didn't come from their parents because the government took it. In 1933, within 6 years, that money was gone. And all that wealth that was built up in 1900 and 1920, Brandon, gone. I'm done.
Get your packet there. He's fired up tonight, folks. Free packet, no obligation. WorldviewGold.com, WorldviewGold.com, or 1-877-864-1072, 1-877-864-1072. As always, thank you, Michael.
Good night, Dolly, wherever you are.
She's right here, asleep in the bed. She had a birthday the other day, Michael. 2 years old.
I heard about it.
2 on
she
Saturday.
Went out for a party.
She was 2 on Saturday.
Uh-oh. Well, at least she could be as old as me. You never know.
Yeah. Well, she's now 14 in dog years. Two in human years.
I know I'm 1,400. Good night, all.
Michael Weiner checking in. All right, guys, get your free packet. No obligation, no risk. 1-877-864-1072. That's our broadcast. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. You appreciate all we're doing here, folks? Well, if you do, we need your support as always. WorldviewFoundation.com. WorldviewFoundation.com. Now, don't forget, we've launched the Revelation series, the Revelation course. The Revelation course has been launched. Remember, we told you about it earlier tonight. You remember at worldviewtube.com/vault, you can take it. No, you don't have to pay for it. It's part of your membership. worldviewtube.com/vault. Till next time, I'm Brandon House. May God save America. Take care.
You've heard about the new wave of GLP-1 weight loss shots, but you've also heard about the side effects. The nausea, the fatigue, the risks of injecting synthetic hormones into your body? What if there were a better way? A natural way? Meet Bellamelt, the indulgent, sugar-free caramel treat that's quietly changing the way women take charge of their weight. Unlike injections that flood your body with synthetic GLP-1, Bellamelt works with your body, using potent botanicals and essential nutrients to help you naturally increase your own GLP-1. The same hormone that controls hunger, cravings, and fat burning. Activated the way nature intended. Just a delicious caramel melt 30 minutes before your meal. In a 10-week clinical study of its key ingredient, African mango, participants lost an average of 28 pounds, reduced body fat by over 18%, and trimmed nearly 7 inches off their waist. Visit melissahousebg.com today. That's melissahousebg.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.
Tonight on the Worldview Weekend Hour, we continue our study through the book of Daniel. Tonight, lesson 13, as we begin with Daniel chapter 5, verse 1. And our lesson is entitled, The Handwriting on the Wall. The Worldview Weekend Hour begins right now.